Sorry about the sound there, folks. I was trying to fix some issues with where this was streaming, and it pulled up on my second screen over here and started porting over double of them. I know the music's good. I know we all love the jazzy intro, but not when it's competing with itself. So sorry about that. I'm Josh. I'm here today to do a clever brew along. Now, if you have been watching for a while, you know that we've been doing. We made these really fun brewing videos out of Florida. I'm gonna put it into the stream here. Tutorial. Boom, there it is. So you can go over and check out the tutorial that I'm going to use today. However, as I was pre-watching it, I did start asking myself some questions about some of the math about ratios. And what do I mean when I say ratios? So I have my Dancing Goats coffee here. I have my scale. I'm going to tear it on, and it already has a vessel, so it will tear to 0. And you'll see when we watch the tutorial that it starts us with a classic thing you're used to at this point. If you've been following us as we brew coffee, we talk a lot about the water to coffee ratio, how important that is. And in this case, the tutorial is going to have 20 grams of coffee and 300 milliliters or 300 grams of water. But the question I had, and I just wanted to try it out today with all y'all, I don't know the answer, is there a difference in the volume of hot water versus cold water? And just thought we'd just do a little demonstration of that. Let's check it out. So I'm going to start by, we'll just take a look at 300 milliliters of water here. I have more because I'm actually going to pour until my scale says 300 grams. And we'll see where that ends up in this. 200, a little bit light. Now, the volumetric there shows that as 300, just at the bubble line, and it lists as 283. So, water's a little heavy, or a little light, I should say, right? That's 316. So we'll pour that off. There we are. Ooh, quite a bit more actually. Boop. Let's see if that does us close to 300. 305. All right. So let's see if I can get this close to you. You can it's going to be hard to tell because it's moving. You can see where it's 300 grams is a little bit more than 300 milliliters, but that could be, a deficiency either of this measuring device or my water. Just that's the weight that it is, right? So what I'm going to do now, though, is see if it looks radically different if we use 300 milliliters of hot water. Okay, so let's try that. I have my kettle here. Let's see what happens when we do this. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I was at 300 and I poured a little bit over. 303. All right, let's see where we're at here. Oh, seems like even more, right, from a volumetric perspective. That's interesting, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this back into my kettle to reheat it for our actual brew along. So when we're talking about these measurements, that was actually 350 from a volumetric perspective, but 300 grams of water. So I just wanted to try that out and see if there's a difference, and there was. It appears that there's a larger volume of water from that perspective, measuring it by volume, than there is for cold water. So interesting. Little fact, fun to try out with you here. So we're going to go ahead and go through with our clever dripper, right? Here is the tutorial, which you can jump to. I have as well. So go ahead and start it here. All right. I have my water heating. You already saw that. All right. I have my scale and my clever. I have my filter. Notice that he's folding that, right? So you can see that there. In it goes. And we're gonna pause, as I often have to, just to stay caught up. Well, the great thing about the clever, right, is it can sit on a flat surface and it releases no water. So it keeps your kitchen counter pretty clean. All right? And I go ahead and, okay. I've already measured out my coffee and ground it. Great. Tear that again. I have my coffee right here. It is. Coarse grind. All right, and then it wants me to go up to 300 milliliters and then set a timer for 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. And tear the coffee. And go up to 300. It'll be vigorous too, right? All right, pouring, getting closer. 80, 90. There's a little bit over, 308. We're fine. All right, and put the lid on, it tells me. And set my timer for 2 minutes. Okay, we are there. Great. And now we wait for 2 minutes. And when it's at 2 minutes, we are going to stir and put the lid back on. All right, so all of that seems pretty doable. Let's talk for a minute here. I do have a couple of minutes. Oh, Charles, hello, it's good to see you. Folks, you may not know, Charles Cook is one of our super fans. He's usually stationed somewhere around the world, but he's super dedicated. Good to see you, Charles. You and I have talked on through Facebook messages before. I'm Josh. Nice to meet you here multiple times a day. Now, I'm going to use this minute I have left, and then I'll have another 2 minutes to talk about something that you might be interested in, Charles. I love the Clever Dripper because it's a full immersion method, right? It's a coarse ground, just like a French press. The coffee and the water are in constant contact, but then it brings in that additional aspect of the paper filtration, which removes some of the heaviness from it. It's super easy to use, as you've seen. Grind the coffee, put the filter in, grind the coffee, put the water in, let it sit, stir, let it sit, and then we drain it. Boom, done. We decant it. Super easy. But if you're drinking coffee multiple times a day, have you ever heard of the coffee nap? I'll try and put a post up on our standard Facebook page and on Twitter. So the coffee nap, have you noticed in the morning when you wake up and you have that first cup of coffee, you get that big like zoom feeling, right? And that's because while you've been sleeping, the little receptors that your body uses in your nervous system have emptied out. They've been filled up by the different chemicals in your. Oh, let's do this real quick. Break the crust. Remember breaking the crust the other day when we did the cupping? Same kind of thing, right? We're just kind of agitating all that coffee that's been floating up on top there hasn't been in infusion, hasn't had water on it, right? So it's not getting extracted. So we just want to return that back down into the slurry. So anyway, what coffee does is it kind of hijacks or replaces your body's natural, those natural things in your body that are helping you with alertness and your brain to your brain, for the cells in your brain to communicate to each other, it kind of hijacks it a little bit and super fills all those receptors. The caffeine does, right? And that's why you get that. All those receptors get filled up. They've been cleared out while you've slept to be ready for the next day. And then when you wake up and you have your caffeine, they all get filled up, right? That's why maybe in the middle of the day, you go to have your second, your third, fourth cup of coffee, Charles, maybe. You drink it, and you don't really get that same kind of sense of being enlivened by your coffee. It's because both the caffeine is maybe still being there, but also your body's natural systems are filling up all those receptors as they have been doing since we've been evolving. It just, throughout the day, your body is taking care of that. So those receptors are all filled, so there's nowhere for the caffeine to go, so you don't get quite the same bump. What you can do, though, is a little thing called a coffee nap. If you prepare your coffee, maybe it's a little bit cooler than you usually would like it, and have it ready, and you drink that coffee. Then you lay down, preferably in a dark, somewhat quiet place, close your eyes. You will begin to put yourself into the space where your body says, oh, you are sleeping. It's time to start clearing out the receptors, just as if you were sleeping at night. So it begins to clear those systems out and open up the receptors. It takes about 20 minutes to do that. 20 minutes is also a good time period for a nap. 20 minutes also is the time that it takes for the coffee to, for the caffeine in the coffee to get into your system and be accessible. And so right about the time that you're waking up from your nap and all those little receptors have been cleared, up comes Mr. Caffeine. You know what I wanted to do as well? I also wanted to take a look at where we end up with for our extraction here. So you wake up, all those receptors are clear, boom, 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 the caffeine has been metabolized, it's in your system, and when you wake up from that nap, you will have that kind of first in the morning wake up and go experience that you often won't have with that third or fourth cup of coffee during the day. It takes 20 minutes, also naps are good. So I am a fairly religious practitioner of the coffee nap when I can. If there's time during the day and I have 20 minutes, I obviously have the coffee. So look it up, coffee nap. I'll see if I can find a link for it. Now this is what I wanted to show everybody. So we know that when we started with our extraction, right? We know we started with, a measurement of 300 milliliters. Oh, I moved too quick. And now look at where we are. I don't know if you can see it. Probably it's not. There we are. It's a little bit less than 300 on here. And we know also when we measured the water hot and cold before, it was coming up in the volumetric measurement at between 325 and 350 milliliters in volumetrics, right? So we used the same weight of water that measured at 325 to 350 because it was hot water. And now look at what we have as in the remaining, what we call liquor, what is expressed from the coffee, right? 300 milliliters. So fascinating, right? That we actually, I'm going to actually measure the weight of this as well. Why not? Huh? Let's do it. Let's empty that. We'll just transfer it here. We'll put you on a cam down. So let's tear that. And we'll see what the weight is. Look at that, 261. So that makes sense, right? When we measure out at 300 grams, its volumetric shows at about 350. Now we have a resulting coffee extraction using that water that we started with that's at 300 volumetrically, 261 as far as grams. So what does that tell us? Of course, that there's a significant portion of the water we use that we start with that gets retained in the coffee grounds, right? We have a loss there. But what we have done is we've exchanged that water, and I don't have my mug again. I forget my mug. It's the simplest thing. You'd think I'd have a dozen mugs back here on this shelf, but I don't. I'll have to enjoy my coffee offline from all of you. So what we've exchanged, of course, is we've pulled things out of the coffee and it's now in suspension in the water, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the flavors and some of the fats. Some get through, of course. They're non-water solubles, and that's okay. Those also add to flavor and our experience and our mouthfeel of the coffee. But that's what we're exchanging. We're losing a little bit of that water because it gets physically trapped in the coffee, right? But the water that does move through, we're replacing things in the coffee grounds with water. We're exchanging it, right? And so we're pulling those things out of the coffee, and now they're resting in this liquor that we've extracted. So, coffee fun, a little bit of clever math. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate it. It is Friday. I'm going to be down at Point Ruston. I'll shoot a little video out there. I want you all to see our awesome build out that's going on over at Point Ruston in Tacoma. I'm also going to share a Clever Dripper here with you. If you do not have one, it sounds like you do, Charles, you should get one, right? Because again, they're super easy, they're fun to use, and they're easy. They're light, they're easy to pack and unpack, and they're pretty durable, right? I've dropped this one a couple times, and it makes a great cup of coffee. So be sure to, if you haven't got a Clever Dripper, grab one when you get your coffee next. And when you get your coffee next and you grab that Clever Dripper, use our code WatchAndLearn10. We'll get you 10% off of your purchases. And that's all I have to say about that. What I will do is I'll see you today, probably around 1 o'clock or so, Pacific Standard Time. Just going to shoot some video of, again, where our build out is at with our new Tacoma store. Say hi to Krista and Crystal, who are running the pop-up. I'll help them a little bit today. And I just want to keep everybody, up to speed with where we're going. It's moving pretty fast now that the build out has started. We're pretty excited about our new store in Tacoma. So for all you folks who love coming to the Dancing Goats, join me later today for that. You'll see me here on this platform and on others. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And take care of each other, all right?